You know, I got a comment the other day. Well, technically, it wasn't just one, it was this little chain of comments from someone who decided to inform me that I don't have the courage to publish my book. And apparently, by being honest about why my publishing dream is basically buried at sea, I'm putting people off publishing too. Now, I want to talk about this, not because I need to defend myself, but because honestly, it's a good conversation to have. And it's one a lot of people don't have publicly, but they have it very privately. Because being real about publishing doesn't fit the shiny author dream Canva template narrative. So no ranting, just me sitting here at 2 o'clock in the morning in my kitchen talking. I'm Darth James, welcome to this episode of The Book Geek. Let's just get into it. If you're here at the end, there'll be some stuff for you to check out. Here's the thing. The reason my trilogy is basically on indefinite hold isn't to do with courage, it isn't fear, it isn't some deep emotional wound that I can overcome with a prep talk and a cup of coffee. It's money. And that's boring. It's a really boring statement. And it's a cold reality that publishing costs money. And I know, people say, oh, you can self-publish on a budget. Yeah, you can. But if I'm going to do something, I want it to be done properly. I want professional editing, proper formatting, good cover design, interior layout, everything. I want my book to look like something you would pick up off the shelf in Barnes & Noble and not something you would buy on Amazon, Kindle Publishing or print to order. That costs money, and I'm not talking fantasy numbers. I have the quotes from the cheaper end of the spectrum, including marketing. I know exactly what it would cost to get this trilogy where it needs to be, and realistically, that's money I almost will certainly never see again. Publishing is a gamble. It's a business decision. I know, unpopular. And right now, it's not a gamble I can or want to make. That's being honest. It's funny. People get really uncomfortable when you bring up the financial side. Like it's this unspoken expectation that if you really believe in your book, you really love your story, you'll throw everything you have at it no matter what. That's not passion, that's a good way to end up broke and bitter. And I've seen it happen. I know a few people. I've seen people go all in on their book and walk away with debt and disappointment. And no one talks about that part. No one talks about what happens when hype doesn't turn into sales. No one talks about that crushing feeling when the thing you love doesn't make its money back. And I'm not willing to put myself in that position financially. That's not fear, that's being realistic. And people don't like that. The other half of this, and this is a big one for me, is that I just don't want to engage with the so-called writing book community anymore. Not in that way. I know some people are going to roll their eyes at this, but if you've been around long enough, you know what I mean. The writing community can be amazing, and there are some genuinely incredible people out there. People who cheer you on, people who are amazingly talented. They're brilliant. But those people are the exception, the rest is messy. There's a lot of toxicity, a lot of competition disguised as community, a lot of judgment and performative morality, and frankly, a lot of people would rather tear each other down than build something real. I've been in that world, I've done the networking, I've played the game, and I don't want to do that anymore. I don't have the energy to pretend to like people just for the sake of a book sale. I don't fit into that space and it's exhausting. That's being honest. And here's the part that probably stings the most to say. I actually wish this was a courage thing. I wish it was fear, because fear, you can fight fear, you can hype yourself up, you can power through, take a leap. You know, the leap of faith in Assassin's Creed. But how do you deal with the money side of it? How do you fight a bank account that says nope? How do you fight an industry that feels like a slot machine? I love my book. I think it's brilliant, if I do say so myself and toot my own horn. But it doesn't mean it's ready. It desperately needs editing, formatting, interior work. And then there's all the marketing, all the invisible things that turn a manuscript into an actual product. And until that's done, it's not publishable, because that wouldn't be fair on anyone, because yikes, my grammar is terrible, and I have literally misspelt the word advocado constantly through my entire life. And yes, advocados are a thing. We're not going into the advocados. So back to the comment. The person said I'm putting people off publishing, And honestly, I get why it might feel that way, because the publishing world is wrapped in this constant follow your dreams narrative. And when someone comes along and says, hey, maybe think before you take a leap, people don't want to hear it. But I'm not trying to crush anyone's dreams. I'm trying to give people the advice I wish someone had given me early on. And people are going to hate this, but publishing is a business decision. And like any business, you need to think about capital, risk, reward, and return. I've been traditionally published, and I've been through self-publishing in a different way. I've done this rodeo before. And I've learned that starry-eyed enthusiasm is not enough to sustain you. At the core of any big decision, especially something like this, there's a simple equation: risk versus reward. And the reality is the risk is high, the reward isn't guaranteed. It doesn't mean don't do it, it doesn't mean give up, it just means think. Understand the game you're playing and stop romanticizing it. This is the part of the conversation no one wants to have on panels or in motivational Twitter threads, because being smart with your money doesn't sell nearly as well as follow your dreams. And if I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys, what I'm feeling right now isn't fear, a lot of it is disillusionment. I've been traditionally published, I've been through that system. I've seen the cracks up close. I know the promises, the fake smiles, the endless hustle, and the pressure to constantly sell yourself as much as the book. And I just don't want to live in that space anymore. It doesn't mean I'll never publish this, maybe one day, but if and when I do, it will be on my terms, in my way that makes sense to me, not because someone on the internet called me a coward. Here's the thing, I wish people would understand. Not publishing right now is not cowardice. Sometimes real courage isn't leaping off a cliff blind. It's saying not yet. It's in looking at a situation with eyes wide open, making a hard, grown-up decision. I love my book. I'd love people to read it. But I'm not going to destroy my finances or my mental health to make it happen. If that makes me the bad guy, some random online comment person, so be it. To anyone out there dreaming of publishing, do it. But do it smart. Do it with a plan. Do it when you're ready. Not when someone else tells you. And make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into. Because courage isn't about ignoring risks, it's about knowing them and choosing when the time is right for you. So if you enjoyed that episode, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'm really curious. Remember that Substack, Patreon, and channel memberships are available for bonus content, early access, and all that jazz. And I'm also going to say, just if you can't do that, leave a comment. Hit the like button. If you have the hype button, hit it. But tell me what you think. Because I do think the follow your dream narrative is not always the best thing to do in any situation. I know a lot of people that have followed their dreams, and instead of landing in the hay bale and the leap of faith, they land on the hard concrete floor and look at their bank accounts and cry. So, let's talk about it.